Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Caleb Likes Books. Today I have a video that I'm not really sure what I'm going to call it or exactly what it is, but I'm basically going to be going over a book that I recently decided to not finish. I DNF'd this book, so this may become a recurring segment on this channel if there are any books that I decide to DNF. Just kind of talking about why and all that stuff. And so, unfortunately, today I'm going to be talking about The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan, the fourth book in the Wheel of Time series. So before I actually start talking, I do want to just say before, I doubt that anybody would be leaving comments like, oh, why would you stop reading now, or whatever. I do intend to get back to this series at some point. I just decided that for now, I think I'm done with it for a little while. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But just to talk about my overall thoughts on this book up to the point that I decided that I was going to stop reading. This edition is around 1,000 pages. I was about 650 pages in, so I was around, a little under 2/3 of the way through. And so that's about the point where I stopped. And I basically... this one, for me, if you've seen my other video that I did early in this year about the first three Wheel of Time books and my thoughts on them, a lot of my thoughts on this one were pretty similar. I really enjoyed the world building in this series, including in this book. There were some really good scenes in this book that I enjoyed. I did enjoy some of the character stuff as well, but to get more into why I decided not to finish it, which is probably going to be the bulk of this video, I don't know. I really appreciate what Robert Jordan did with this series, at least so far. What I've read, I really enjoy certain aspects of it, and I can see the appeal of this series for sure. Like, I'm reading it, and even though it's not necessarily drawing me in a huge amount, I can look at it and be like, okay, I understand why people love this. For me, it just wasn't grabbing me, and that's the main reason why I decided to DNF it. The first three books and, the first half to 2/3 of this book, I enjoyed the series so far. Like I said, I enjoyed, some of the characters okay. I didn't love any of them, but some of them I did enjoy a bit. I enjoyed Rand sometimes. I really enjoyed Loyal. I'm not sure how his name's pronounced exactly, the Ogier character. I really liked him. And all that stuff. I liked some of the other characters as well. Some of the Aes Sedai characters were kind of interesting. I really enjoyed the world building, especially in the first book, but really throughout all of these four books, the world building was really good. And I enjoy Robert Jordan's writing style generally. It is very dense and wordy and a bit description heavy, but I do enjoy his writing style as well. And there's some good scenes, sprinkled throughout the books that I really enjoy. But the thing that made me really not want to keep going with it, at least right now, is the fact that even though I was enjoying the series, I was enjoying reading it a decent amount, not a huge amount, not on the same level as some others that I've read, like Lord of the Rings or the Stormlight Archive, or even some other ones that maybe aren't my favorites, but I still really enjoyed, like some of the Discworld books that I've read, the two that I've read so far, and things like that, some of the Star Wars books. This one just wasn't really drawing me in. It wasn't really grabbing me. Like, I could not really tell you much of what happened either character-wise or plot-wise in any of these books, except for a few key events. And I do literally mean like a few, like maybe 5 or less key events that I actually remember. And this series for me so far it didn't really draw me in. It didn't make me really invested. And again, that's the main reason why I'm going to put it down for now, is because I feel like if I'm reading a series and I'm not really invested in it, maybe I want to come back to it someday. But right now, if I'm not really feeling it, if I'm not really super into it, then I would just rather spend my time on other books that I hopefully will be more into. And I think part of it too, especially for Shadow Rising, is it's such a long book. Like I said, this is 1,000 pages. It's one of the longest books in the series. If I'm reading it and I'm just not really into it, but it's, 1,000 pages long, if it were 300 pages, that would be one thing. But where it's well over 3 times that, that makes it a little bit less of a thing that I'm willing to do, I guess. And again, I don't know exactly why, but it just wasn't really drawing me on. The series in general just wasn't really grabbing me as much as I'd like. Certainly not enough for me to really be excited to get back into it, because I put off reading this book for a good couple months. I was intending to read it a couple months ago, and then it got pushed back to this month. And last month. I'm recording this in June, releasing this in June. As of the time that I'm recording this, which is about a week into June, this video will be coming out a bit later, but it is now like the 5th or 6th day of June or something, and I'm only, 60% of the way through the book. I've been reading it for almost a month. And it's just, it feels like it's dragging on. It feels like it's a bit of a chore for me. And it's just, yeah, I completely forgot where I was originally going with my statement, but I didn't plan this video out much. I just kind of thought, I know what I want to say, kind of, and so I'm just going to kind of talk. So I hope that this isn't too terribly boring or not entertaining or uninteresting or whatever for you. But yeah, it wasn't drawing me in, so I figure if it's that long and there's so much more of the series left to go, after this book, I've still got 10 books left, 11 if you count the prequel, which granted is a lot shorter, which is nice, but still 10 or 11 more books. I just don't feel like doing that right now. And so unfortunately I did decide to put this one down, which means that if you've seen my TBR video for this month for June, I actually had the Fires of Heaven on there because I originally recorded that video around the time that I started reading this, and so at that time I was like, okay, I'm going to finish this one and then I'm going to read the next one and then maybe read the 6th book. The next month we'll see how that goes, but I'm just going to completely take that off the TBR because I'm not reading the rest of this one. So yeah, that's kind of all I really got to say. I do intend to get back to Wheel of Time sometime. I want to finish this series, even if I don't absolutely love it, which is maybe not the best mindset to have, because if I'm not really into it, then, like I said earlier, I probably ought to spend my time on other stuff that I am enjoying more, especially where these books are so dang long. But I want to, get into this series. I really want to love it. And maybe it's just not for me to the extent of some other ones. It's for me to the extent that I am okay with reading them, but I'm not just loving them. But maybe it's just not quite for me. But I do want to love this series because I've heard so many incredible things about it. It was such an important series for fantasy and all that stuff. And I do enjoy parts of the books. So I want to love it. But yeah, for now I'm going to put it down. I do intend to get back to it someday. I don't know when. If I do get back into it, I may start from the beginning again, because part of the issue for me also is just not being able to really easily follow character arcs, what the characters are doing, what the characters, even their personalities are like. Like, I couldn't really name you qualities of the specific characters because there's so many of them, and I just, they just never stuck in my mind. Same thing with the storyline, all that stuff. I've also just generally felt really lost reading these books. Not really knowing what exactly is going on or why or all that stuff. And so I think starting fresh from the beginning, maybe a year, 2 years, maybe less than that, who knows. But, start restarting it completely some time away from now after I've read some other stuff, and kind of feel rejuvenated, for lack of a better word, I guess, to get back into the series, more excited to get back into it. I think that might help, and I think that just forcing myself to continue going through this series when I am not really feeling it is probably not the best thing to do, and will probably just make me like it even less, which I don't want to happen. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this video. I apologize that it's a bit more rambly, it's a bit less structured. It's not really a review. I'm not really sure what I'm going to call this video, but it may become a recurring segment on the channel if I end up DNFing books, which hopefully I won't do very often. This is my first one for the year. Last year I only had one DNF'd book as well. Or actually that was the beginning of this year, I guess I should say. Did I DNF that at the beginning of this year? I can't remember. It was the 5th A Song of Ice and Fire book. I DNF'd it either in December or January, whatever. But I started it in December, but I can't remember when I decided not to read it anymore. But, one book from last year. Hopefully this is the only one from this year. So hopefully this doesn't become a frequent occurrence on this channel, and I do intend to finish at least the vast majority of the books I read. And even if I don't finish them with, something like this, I do want to get back to it sometime. So don't think that just because I'm putting it down for now that I'm never going to read Wheel of Time again, because I do plan to read it again sometime in the future. Just don't know when. Just depends on when I feel up to it. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. So let me know down in the comments if, I know some other people have had similar experiences with this series. So let me know if that's the case for you, and if you happen to kind of get over that hurdle and end up really liking this series, and all that stuff. If you have anything related to this to say, let me know. I'm sure that my experience is not the only one out there that's like this. But that is pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.